Good morning. This is Jane with Scraptastic Yarns podcast, and today is Tuesday, July the 2nd. We're already in July. Who knew it could go by so fast? Huh. Um, Also this morning, Miss Kayla of Llama Mama Kayla has her yarn bingo card out, so you want to check her video so that you can get the new yarn bingo card and play along. Playing along is real easy. Knit, crochet, loom knit, doesn't matter. This card is designed for you to, as you go along, you're not necessarily doing something that is specific that's on the card unless you want to. Because I did a couple of those last month. I mean, we all do, I'm sure. But for me, a lot of it is playing along and getting some of those whips or projects that I already had out. Um, you know, I use all those scraps for baby hats to go to the nursery and the NICU. So, I mean, that's a given. I'm gonna post one picture of baby hats. And then I consider that finish a whip because when I sit down to do baby hats, generally I don't do just one or two baby hats. I will generally do about 25, 26 at one time. Then when I'm knitting baby hats, generally I will do 4 or 5 because knitting a baby hat is quick and easy. I think I can do one in under an hour, so if I have a day that, especially when I've gone to the casino and I have that bus trip, I can whip out quite a few hats in that day. So, the yarn bingo is just a great way to play along, see if you can get a bingo just naturally on your own, or some of us, we work real hard to scratch off every one of those uh, bingo spots, and yeah, it's just fun. So if you've never looked into Llama Mama's Yarn Bingo, I'm going to provide a link down below. It's a lot of fun. She does have a group on Facebook that is simply for Yarn Bingo, and then of course I believe this month sometime she'll be announcing the next yarn swap that she has scheduled for next month. Her and Christy of Hooks and Horses have been doing a great job in keeping everything together and choosing partners and everything. And it's been fun going along, with the yarn swaps. Um, I've gotten some amazing new friends from my yarn swaps. So, it's a great way to connect with others and to learn a little bit more about your fellow knitter, crocheter, loom knitter. And yeah, like I said, it's a lot of fun. So you might want to consider that. And that's over on Llama Mama Kayla's channel. I'll provide a link down there, like I said, below. It has been a week, hasn't it? Boy. Um, I know that you have seen the 2 videos, most of you have, that I had posted about Ravelry and with Life After Ravelry. What I'm looking forward to over the next couple of weeks is possibly doing a designer each week that has been singled out possibly or is one of those who, felt the need to leave. Um, I know that's not going to be an easy task, so I may need, some of you folks out there to point me in the right direction. I am pretty good about searching things out. Of course, I have a husband who's in academia. If I can't search it out, he can find it, so yeah, that does help. But I also want to feature places where we can find patterns, some good patterns, um, because quite honestly, Ravelry had become an addiction to just go look the different projects. And I'll be honest, I am going to miss Ravelry for the fact that when I was at the store, Scraps and Skeins, if I saw a yarn that I wasn't that I'd never seen before, but I'd like to see it worked up in a project. You could go to Ravelry, put that in, and you can find people who've done projects with it. Will I miss that? Yeah. However, I feel good about my choice to leave. So, and I hope those of you that have left feel good about it. And I hope those of you that have stayed with Ravelry feel good about it. Like I said, it doesn't matter one way or another to me if you stay or go with Ravelry. You will notice on those videos that I have left comments up, good, bad, and ugly, and they will stay up. And part of the reason they will stay up is that's being open and honest, transparent. I have had some pretty hateful things said to me, sent to me by email. It doesn't bother me a bit, just delete, gone. But yeah, it happens to all of us that are in the YouTube community. You're going to get some hate. You're going to get some negativity. You just need to learn to brush it off and move on. So those are what I'm planning on doing. We have grown on the Facebook page quite a bit. I have asked 2 people to step up and also help me with that because, like I told them, it's exploded. I never dreamed that that would happen, and I'm glad to see all of you that have come and joined us on the Facebook group, and I'm thrilled. It opens up a lot more for us to see other people's work, get to know each other, build a community, a real community. So I'm excited about that. I did want to clarify one thing. I have said that it is a very safe place for you to post, your items and stuff. If you choose to use patterns from Ravelry, you are free to post the links to those patterns, not the actual patterns. The only time you're allowed to link a pattern or put the whole pattern on there is with the designer's permission. And I would like to, before you post it, be able to contact that designer to make sure it is a-okay if they choose to have that pattern placed on the group. I have in the past, on other groups that I've been on, I have posted my full patterns on certain groups to share, but that was my pattern and I chose to do that. So, yeah, let's be clear. You can post the links to the patterns. And now let's get to it. What have I done this week? Very little. I did make a little pumpkin, watermelon. Oh, it's been a week. And I had decided that I wanted to use this basically near my kitchen because I have one small pan that I use when I make eggs for me, and I don't really need a big pot holder, so I chose to use this. Yes, it's acrylic, and I know it gets hot, and I know it'll burn. However, it's cute. And all I did is just create a circle with the lighter color, then put white, and then a green, and then I took some black thread and made some seeds. Easy peasy. That's all it is. No big pattern. Just easy. And you can make your circles smaller. You could attach rings to make key rings, or the clasps to put them on backpacks. Easy. And then I needed some love, so I made myself a little amigurumi. A kawaii is, I think that's how you pronounce those. And yes, it's crocheted, but you can knit them too. So I just made this and, made sure that my little lovey had a smile, and every once in a while, give myself a hug. And then I saw the Canadian crocheters, where she had made her friend the heart with the hug, and she had made some hands. Um, I think we all need a hug now and then. That's a great idea for that. So I'm thinking about expanding that a little bit for myself and for close friends. The only other thing that I have been working on, I love my scraps. Scraps are scraptastic. Is I did finish the lap gan, and it was done in the Wow Crochet has a tutorial for what she calls a double V-stitch blanket. She does have a tutorial also that goes around and does some different edging. Because I used scraps and it was not color coordinated, I chose just to do a single crochet and then a half double crochet around the edge. Because I figured this is probably something that a man in the nursing home would possibly use. So that's what I did. The only other thing that I've managed to finish is cutting out more bags. Have I gotten any of them sewn? No. Jane had a small flare-up with her fibromyalgia. So I've been a little sore, and that kind of got away from me. So this afternoon I'm back up there and I'm sewing, doing it slowly. Now let's discuss the whip. This whip, this is burgundy and that gold. And if you remember, a couple weeks ago, I told you about a prayer shawl. Pastor Susan has a regular thing that she will do. I need somebody to finish a project or give me a number between 1 and 10, and it doesn't matter if you say 29. You win the prize, and it's usually either an unfinished item that needs to be finished, and or just a bag of yarn to do something with. And she knows many times she has handed me things to finish because, like this, there was this bag of these crochet squares that someone had passed away, and the family had found them with some additional yarn, the gold yarn, so they brought them to me. Well, I was trying to match the size of these squares. Didn't matter what size hook I used. And we got to looking, the gals and I, at my regular knitting group, crochet group. We noticed that this is more of a sports weight yarn. And one of the gals had said, well, your tension's never going to be the same as that person's. And they're right. I can get close, but not close enough. And even with blocking, and my squares in Red Heart Burgundy just weren't matching up. And she said, well, you could connect, sew these together in strips. And then, add just strips of burgundy in between them. And that's not what I heard. And I teased JC about it. I said, that's not what I heard. But what I decided at the time was there's no way I'm going to match it. This is a sport weight yarn. I did not have a sport weight yarn that I could use with it. So what I chose to do is one of my favorite Scraptastic blankets. Bob Wilson 123 actually came up with the whole scrap blanket idea that I have used, and I've just kind of, when I don't know what else to do with scraps, I make Scraptastic blankets. So then we took the squares apart, joined them with the magic knot, and I began crocheting that, holding the gold strand and along with the burgundy strand to create this blanket or lapcan, whatever you want to call it. So that is how that came about. And yes, maybe I do need to have my hearing checked. But I've been teasing JC all week long, my friend, when I see her, and she'll, somebody will say what I was working on. I'll say it's JC's fault. So JC's got broad shoulders, so we have a lot of fun with it, teasing each other and everything. Um, and that is it for my whips currently, other than Chairzilla on this side, Chairzilla on this side of the chair, and I have no idea what whips are down there. Um, so my goal this week, along with getting those bags sewn and up in the Etsy shop, is to find out what's in Chairzilla. If you're wondering where Chairzilla comes from, past Saturday morning, I had caught one of Heidi Hangouts live, and Heidi is the kitty, and Penny is Heidi's human. So Penny was cleaning off her, I think she called it Tablezilla, where she works at, and where her laptop computer sits. She was cleaning that off and just tossing everything into a box by the side of her, and it was quite cute. She does have those videos up, so you can go back and see that. But she had nicknamed it Tablezilla, and I kept calling it Tableville. So she was going to say Tableville is much more friendlier. So Tableville will be now what the table will be called. We have a lot of fun in our community because we're all a little on the wacky side. So yeah, let's go out and have some fun, enjoy each other's company, and learn a little from each other. And always I end with choose kindness, and I will do that again today because kindness works better than anything else in the world to make people feel good. Well, unless you're a really mean curmudgeon, it might not make you feel better. It might make you mad. But I'm still going to practice it. Okay, now you know what time it is. It's time for What in Tarnation? And now here's a few of those stories. For those of you who don't know what in Tarnation is, what in Tarnation is a small feature of my channel in which I relay some of the more strange happenings that are going on in the world, or funny things that have happened, those things that kind of make you go, huh? Or just cute things. The first one is Lost Tabby is found at nearby store helping himself to catnip products. A tabby cat who was actually believed to be lost was probably a lot more lost than his human thought he was. Only not lost in the form of you can't find him, more like gone on a binge. According to the YouTuber Sensual Cat, this adorable cat wandered by himself into the store by accident and had the time of his life rolling around in catnip products. And if you go there, you can see the video of the cat rolling around on the shelf with all that stuff. We are thinking the feline simply entered the store and went on a hunt for all things cat, and ended up striking the mother lode of catnip, trespassing, theft, and drug possession. It's kind of a good thing for the cat. The store owner decided not to press formal charges. Now this is my favorite one. Now I know Google owns YouTube, and many of us have used Google Maps. I have used them with a grain of salt in my past doing home health because they're not always correct. And here's an example. Google Maps detour strands more than 100 vehicles near Colorado Airport. A Google Maps error near a Colorado airport left more than 100 drivers seeking a detour stranded on a dirt road. Drivers headed to the Denver International Airport said they were diverted by Google Maps Sunday due to a crash on Pena Boulevard that led the app to offer a detour. The drivers were led down a dirt road that soon turned into a muddy mess due to the recent rains, and vehicles ended up stuck with about 100 cars lined up behind them. There were a bunch of other cars going down the dirt road too, so I said I guess it's okay. It was not okay, driver Connie Monsees told CNN. She said her all-wheel drive vehicle was able to make it through the mud, and she ended up picking up a couple of stranded travelers who were headed to the airport to catch flights. Google conceded that weather-related issues can sometimes cause the GPS directions to become unreliable. We take many factors into account when determining driving routes, including the size of the road and the directness of the route, the company said in a statement. While we always work to provide the best directions, issues can arise due to unforeseen circumstances, such as weather. We encourage all drivers to follow local laws, stay attentive, and use their best judgment while driving. Yes, don't go off the cliff. Now this next one, I know some of you, when I went to Seneca Falls on that trip to the casino there, one of the ladies was an older lady. We became very well acquainted because we were seatmates on the bus, and we talked a lot, and we both talked about our death experiences. And we had looked into, in the Williamsport area, a death awareness group. And basically what it was is it was a professor that was examining people, getting their stories about their near-death or death experiences. And we chose not to go because the way that he had chosen to do his little cafe, and that's what he called it, it seemed a little shady at the time. He wanted us to meet him in a parking lot in a not so nice neighborhood in Williamsport, and we both felt a little nervous about it, so we chose not to do it. And it's probably a good thing. I won't tell you why, but it wound up being a good choice for us. But this one is a little different. Death Awareness Cafe puts customers in coffins to reflect on life. A cafe in Thailand is using a macabre gimmick to draw in customers, closing them in coffins after finishing coffee. The Death Awareness Cafe in Bangkok features mortuary-inspired decor and coffins placed for customers to spend time closed inside after their purchase beverages. And I cannot even begin to pronounce this gentleman's name. Viranat Rajana Prabha? Yeah, I probably butchered that. The cafe's owner said the purpose of the cafe is to inspire customers to reflect on their lives. He said the idea was inspired by Buddhist philosophy and is aimed at encouraging people not to be driven by greed. Our main goal is for the visitor to experience the death awareness, he said. When the lid of the coffin closes, Their basic instincts will come up, and they will realize that eventually they cannot take anything with them. I find that a rather interesting idea. Now, the next one has to do with wedding photos. Wedding photos turn up in a thrift store lunch bag 9 years later. A woman who purchased a lunch bag from a California thrift shop made an unexpected discovery: a USB drive containing photos from a wedding 9 years earlier. Michelle DeMarcado, I don't think I pronounced that right, posted a series of wedding photos to Facebook that she said came from the thumb drive she found inside the lunch bag she purchased from the Deseret Industries thrift store in Sacramento. The post was shared dozens of times and came to the attention of people who started tagging friends in the photo. Mercado said the couple from the photos got in touch and explained the pictures were from their wedding 9 years earlier. The bride, Jessica Black, now lives in San Antonio, Texas, with her husband and their 3 children. I don't know if one of our families accidentally had a flash drive of our photos, and I don't know how it randomly ended up in a lunchbox, but I was happy that someone was able to find it so fast. It was definitely a wonderful day, and I'm so glad I have photos to remember it, because the wedding day is always so busy and chaotic, and it just goes by so fast. So it's good to have these memories captured that you can have forever. It's just a special, sweet memory. Can you imagine? 9 years later, in Sacramento, and she now lives in Texas. Yeah, the internet can be an interesting and lovely thing when we use it correctly. Now, this next one kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies, sort of. Only because, I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico. Many times when we go out to bottomless lakes or, some of those places, we had to be very aware of our surroundings because there were diamondback rattlesnakes all over the place. But I've never encountered this snake. And I didn't think, living in Pennsylvania, which is where I live now, that I would ever encounter this certain snake. But we have a Pennsylvania woman, 73, kills loose cobra with a shovel. Cobra, loose, in Pennsylvania. 73-year-old Pennsylvania woman who spotted a venomous Asian cobra outside her home sprang into action and killed the animal with a shovel. Kathy Kehoe, a Falls Township great-grandmother, said she spotted the unusual snake on her patio Monday when she looked out to determine why there were blue jays squawking outside her home. I opened the door. I said a bad word. I can imagine. It's a cobra. I knew right away, she told WPVI-TV. Kehoe snapped some photos of the snake until it started to flee. She then grabbed a shovel, chased the serpent into her yard, and beat it to death. He went this way. I stalked him, and when he got over to here, I tapped his tail. He went up, and that's when I did the deed and held him there, she said. Authorities said they have not yet determined the origins of the highly venomous snake, but Kehoe said it may have been on the loose in the apartment complex for months. She said police removed 20 venomous snakes, including 12 cobras, from a neighbor's apartment in March. Sorry, sneeze. Allergies. Great season. But that's it for What in Tarnation today. There have been quite a few stories out there. They have been fantastic to listen to look at. And I was going to tell you about the horns using, you growing horns using cell phones. But I think everybody knows about that story. Um, they're not really horns, they're just bony prominence at the back of your skull because, you know, when your muscles get weak, you get bone spurs, and that's basically kind of what it is. Your neck gets weak because you're constantly doing this. Uh, yeah, that's it for today's podcast. I will see you again soon. I do have a shout out coming out later on this week because it seems like we're having faster and faster, we're getting people to come to the dark side. That is my teasing thing with Madonna. Um, I love finding new podcasts, knitting, crochet, and of course Bigfoot. That's my favorite. But yeah, um, so remember, when you go out there today, smile at somebody. Your smile may save their day for them, or you may save a life. You never know. And as always, choose kindness.